Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another SportsMcGame Podcast. This is episode 3. It's been a while since I actually done a podcast. I wasn't kept on with the schedule. I promised y'all I was going to do another one, but I didn't. Look, we got another podcast episode. But we're in the middle of the NFL season, mid-season, and stuff is just getting out of hand at this point. Let's look at the AFC and NFC playoff picture here. Well, number 1 team, the number 7 teams, got the AFC playoff picture first. The Chiefs, without Tyreek Hill, are still the best team in the AFC. And so in my opinion, they might be still the best team in the NFL. I mean, I don't know how you can stop the Chiefs. The Miami Dolphins, their wide receiver threat is deadly. I'm telling you right now, it's too deadly. And right now, they are leading the AFC East behind a Buffalo Bills team that wants revenge. And the Bills right now are 5th in the AFC standings in the playoff picture. Now, we're going to move on to the Baltimore Ravens for the 4th seed. And right now, my prediction is, and I'm a Ravens fan, I think they just might be first round exits in the playoffs after their performance against the Jags. And also, they definitely need a better defense, or they gotta figure something out here. Because there's too many times in the second half where they just give up too many points, and also the Ravens defense is 17th in the fantasy rankings. They were previously 12th in the rankings. Well, let's move on to the Tennessee Titans. They're doing what they do best. They control the AFC South like nothing else. The Buffalo Bills, even though 5th in the AFC, yeah, they're still playoff contenders. Even though they almost lost to the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. The Bengals, after a great win against the Titans, are now tied with Baltimore in the AFC North. While the Jets are the most surprising. Some of these teams I not expect, like the Jets and the other teams coming up. The Jets switched QBs from Zach Wilson to Mike White in Sunday's game against the Bears, and the Jets won it. But there's gonna be in my prediction is that there might be a QB situation sooner or later throughout the season for the Pats, Chargers, and the Colts, who are in the hunt for a playoff spot. The Patriots and the Chargers have to figure something out to get in a wild card, because both of them are 6-5. Now, let's look at the NFC playoff picture, because this is just mind-boggling how there is somehow a whole division in the playoff picture through 12 weeks. So let's start off with the best team in the NFC, the Eagles. Still the best team in the NFC and the NFL, but that's the NFL's opinion. After their win against the Packers on Sunday night, the Minnesota Vikings come out of nowhere and control the NFC North. Yeah, they definitely came out of nowhere. And also on Thanksgiving, they won against the Patriots. The NFC South is just the Buccaneers and the Falcons at this point. The same team, Panthers, they just rather move on to the next season. The 49ers, after a raw start with Trey Lance got injured. They brought Jimmy Garoppolo in. I think that might have been the right decision. And right now, they're leading in the NFC West right now. While for the Cowboys, after a heartbreaker in the wild card against the 49ers last year, they're once again playoff contenders. While for the Giants, they came out of nowhere as well. They're also a surprising team. But the Giants are now 0-2 against the Cowboys after their Thanksgiving loss. The Commanders are having a great run in the middle of the season right now. They have won 6 of their last 9. That's absolutely crazy. And then, if the regular season would end right now, once again, like I said, and before we even talked about the NFC playoff picture, it mind boggles me how the whole NFC East is in the playoffs. If the regular season were to end right now, all the AFC East were in the playoffs. That's still mind-boggling. While the Falcons and Seahawks, they are in the playoff picture. Well, no, hold up. They're in the hunt. But they still have a chance to make a run in their respective divisions. This NFL season it's been absolutely crazy. It's been fun for me to watch. Not fun to see the Ravens just keep losing it. But for all these teams, they just have pride, except for the Texans. Except for the Texans. But this NFL season has been also with close games coming down to the wire. So many teams still have opportunities to make the playoffs. So these NFL teams need to get their A game up here to make sure they make the playoffs. Now we're gonna get into some news. Some Ravens news here. I'm a Ravens fan. I always track the Ravens stuff down, and probably a lot of people know about this, and definitely all the Ravens fans. After their game versus the Jags, they lost. Lamar Jackson deleted a vulgar tweet blasting a critic. Now I'm not sure. I feel like the critic is right. I feel like he's right here. The critic said that someone asking for over $250 million guarantee, like Lamar Jackson, games like this should come down to the kicker, Justin Tucker. And I would say he's right on some parts, But here's the thing: the kicker, if it's a tight game, the kicker can't be the hero, cannot be the hero, But they tried their best, but the offense tried their best. The defense, though, they just need to do something at this point. And then also added, let Lamar walk and spend that money on a well-rounded team. Now, I feel like now the critic is just going to the whole team. I would say he is criticizing the defense here at this point. And then Lamar snapped back with a profane reply, saying among other things that the fan never smelled a football field. His tweet was deleted 3.5 hours later. The Ravens nor the NFL didn't respond to email seeking comments on Jackson's tweet, but John Harbaugh talked about it with the reporters, and he said Lamar Jackson's tweet was out of character, saying that he's the most competitive guy on the team. And I feel like it. Because he wants that $250 million. Because he wants that bag. Because I'm surprised how the Ravens did not give him the $250 million yet. I'm just worried he might get traded. But at least we have a good backup QB in Tyler Huntley. He's good. But I think we still need Lamar Jackson. But let's move on. After the Packers lost against the Eagles, the Packers are now 4-8 in the NFC North. And the Packers might have to look the next season. In my opinion, one goal for them, I think, is to try to at least get a star wide receiver. They got good wide receivers, but they don't have a wide receiver like Devontae Adams, And let's keep moving on. Let's move on to passing. The Chiefs quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, has just been outstanding. And I feel like he just keeps doing that every single year at this point. Being the number one passer in the NFL, having 3,585 yards. That means he is averaging 325 passing yards per game. While the other 4 people on the list, they also cracked the 3,000 passing yards, who are Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, and Justin Herbert. Let's move on to the running game. Josh Jacobs for the Raiders leads the league in rush yards with an outstanding performance against the Seahawks yesterday. And he just went crazy. Also having the game winner against the Seahawks, a game-winning running touchdown, and an OT thriller. He has 1,159 rush yards, which means he's averaging 105 yards per game. While two people also cracked 1,000 yards. Derrick Henry, of course, and also Nick Chubb. Now, while these wide receivers have been absolute dogs through the season, only one is on top. The Cheetah is on top of the receiving list, having 1,233 yards, averaging 112 yards per game. And if you don't know who Cheetah is, it's Tyreek Hill. That's his nickname. Well, let's look at the other. let's look at the other ones. 200 people also cracked 1,000 yards. Justin Jefferson, who has been absolutely outstanding, leading his Vikings to the best record in the NFC North, and Stephon Diggs. And you can add Devontae Adams, but he has 909 yards. He's literally 1 yard off. But two players on the same team who are in the top 5. And we didn't talk about this player because he's in number 5. We talked about Tyreek Hill, who's number 1. The fifth player in the receiving yards list is Jalen Waddle. He's also on the Dolphins. So right now, this wide receiver threat is literally that good. While on the defensive line, you got Matt Judon, Micah Parsons, and Nick Bosa. Definitely, they're Pro Bowlers. They are the top 3 best in sacking the QB. Now, we're going to look at some of these teams in the hunt. Teams who trying to look for a playoff spot here going into week number 13. First, we'll start with the AFC Conference. You got the Patriots. 6-5, they're 8th in the playoff. They're 8th in the conference standings. 4th in the AFC East. I mean, look, they're 8th in the AFC standings. They're last place in the AFC East. So I am surprised that almost the AFC East is in here. Is in the playoff picture. They're 2-1 against teams who are in the division. And also, tonight on tonight on Thursday Night Football, they face the Bills, who comes off a win against the Lions and almost lost. And I feel like the Pats might have a chance to beat the Bills here. Buffalo has been all that great. We saw them almost lost the Lions, okay? But it hasn't been all that great as a late covering number in just one of their 5 games. They're 1-3-1. Against the spread on the road this season. Josh Allen has been playing well, but I feel like he has not been 100% right now. I think the Pats having similarity with Buffalo, with what Buffalo wants to do. They can lean on the defense to get some key stops in a big showdown. I feel like it is a big showdown. There are 3 games. My bad. Their next 3 games are primetime games, starting with Thursday, then Monday, and Sunday. After that, their schedule gets hard. With their final 3 games, with teams who are over 500. You don't know what I mean by over 500. That means teams that have a 50%, more than a 50% win rate. You got the Dolphins, you got the Bengals, and the Bills. So yeah, the Patriots, they have a tough schedule. Now let's move on to the Chargers. They are also 6-5 and 9th. They're a 9th seed. Second in the AFC West. They're 2-2 against teams who are in the division. They face the Raiders in a division game. The Chargers have 2 of their last 5 games. So far, it's going downhill for the Chargers. And for the rest of the season, they'll be facing only 2 teams over 500, the Dolphins and the Titans. So the Chargers might have a chance to make the wild card. Now you got the Indianapolis Colts, who I feel like they're out of the playoffs at this point, but they're still in the hunt in the playoff picture. The odds definitely stand against them after their loss to the Steelers on Monday night. And Jeff Saturday managing the clock and defending about it in their loss. And Matt Ryan, he's not been improving at all with the Colts. I don't know. He made bad throws. He threw a pick. he threw, but at least he threw 64% completions with 1 interception. But now, we're about to move on to the NFC Conference. Let me catch a breath. You got the Seattle Seahawks, who are 6-5, just like the Chargers and the Pats, and they're 8th in the AFC playoff picture. 2-3 in their first 5 games of the season, and then went on a 4-game winning streak till they lost to the Bucks in the international game in Munich. But then lost to the Raiders on Sunday in the OT third, which came down to Josh Jacobs' game-winning rushing touchdown. But I feel like the Seahawks have a chance to make it to the postseason. They're also a surprising team with the help of Geno Smith as the QB, who has been really good. During the rest of the regular season, they will face 3 teams over 500 who are the 49ers, who lead the NFC West, the Chiefs, who lead the AFC, and the Jets. So those teams are tough to beat, but we're going to sooner or later find out if they can beat them. While the defense, after getting up so many rushing yards in the game against the Raiders because of Josh Jacobs, they definitely need to focus up throughout the rest of the season if they want to make the playoffs. Now, for the Atlanta Falcons, they're 5-7. They're 9th. Every single game they won right now, 3 out of the 5 games came down to a differential of a field goal. A field goal, which is 3 points. It's common sense. 1-3 against teams in the division, so not great against divisional teams. And Atlanta won Sunday against hold on. That changed my mind a whole bit. If Atlanta won against the Commanders on Sunday, it would have once again been a 500 and held tiebreakers for wild cards over 3 teams: Seattle, 49ers, and Washington. Atlanta would have had a half-game lead in the NFC South. Instead, Atlanta is a half-game back of Tampa Bay, who are 5-6, which lost to Cleveland in OT. So if they were to get that win, that would have been interesting. It's like I said, it's still the Bucks and Falcons in the NFC South at this point. Those seemingly fleeting wildcard chances took a hit to the Falcons at 5-7 are now 2 wins back of the number 7 Commanders, who are 7-5. Now you got the Detroit Lions, and I don't know if they have a chance at this point. They have a 5-game losing streak. Had a 5-game losing streak. They won a 3-game winning streak until their last loss against the Bills on Thanksgiving. They're second in the NFC North, with the regular season coming down to a close. In my opinion, they should be focused on who they might want in the draft as predictions came in. The projected draft thinks that the Lions will have the 5th pick via the Eagles and the 11th pick in the first round. So that's good for the Eagles. Definitely positive. With a great wide receiver in Amon-Ross St. Brown, who is right now having 716 yards and 4 touchdowns, and a great defensive end in Aiden Hutchinson, 5.5 sacks and 2 interceptions, they can definitely add some depth to the team with those 2 projected picks. Now it's time we move on to, let's talk about the Ravens again. We're going to go deep, we're going to dive deeper into their 4th quarter loss against the Jags. Because they just set a franchise and NFL record. But this record is a heartbreak for Ravens fans and the players themselves. You know, we've heard this before. You know, the Ravens, they lost. Too many losses because of the 4th quarter breakdown. So the Ravens lose 3rd game with fewer than 15 seconds left. And this hasn't happened in the franchise's 26-year existence. And this has been a trend for the Ravens. Week 2 against the Dolphins, giving up too many points. Giving up 21 points in the 4th quarter alone. Week 4 against the Bills, absolute breakdown with a turnover on downs, the defense not cooperating and letting the Bills get a game-winning field goal. Failing on the 4th down, the defense slacked on the foul drive and gave the Bills a chance to win the game, and they did. But now, week 12 against the Jags, another mental breakdown. And once again, I'm a Ravens fan, and this is just a disgrace. I couldn't believe that just happened just again. Over the last 4 games, the Ravens coming into this game, over the last 4 games, the Ravens went 3rd in the NFL in averaging fewest points allowed and yards given up. So they made a strong case that this defense has solved their fourth quarter problems, but that wasn't the case here. And also, this is also crazy. The last time the Jags beat the Ravens was back in 2015. November 15th, 2015, when the Jags beat the Ravens 22-20. So yeah, it's been a while. Literally just say 7 years. In the Ravens' 4 losses in the 4th quarter alone. In total, they gave opponents 63 points and 539 yards in all the 4 losses. And those points and yards were coming from the 4th quarter in those 4 losses. Now, I saw this. I wanted to make a chart. I wanted to see the worst defenses and their points per game allowed. And somehow I like math. Some people do not like math, but I like math. So, here's what I did. Points per game allowed in every single game with the worst defenses divided by all 4 quarters and only have the 4th quarter. Then here's what I did next. So here's what I did next. I then averaged the Ravens points per game allowed. They only averaged 19. They only allowed 19 points per game. That's surprising, considering all that stuff. Wait, and literally only allowing 19? They should at least be top 3 instead of literally being the 4th seed in the AFC. And then I took the average of those 63 yards divided by the 4 losses.
Lucas.
Silent Fresh.